Hey everyone, Adam here, and just looking forward to talking with you about Squarespace today and talking about their design. So, previously in another video, I talked about Wix and SEO because they proclaim that their SEO is the best. They talk a lot about it, they hype it up, they market it, and Squarespace does the same with their design. They talk about their beautiful designs, they're the leader in website design, and that is something that we want to take a look at a little bit deeper today and really see if that holds true. We have the website design right now. Create your website. The leader in website design. Stand out with a professional website, online store portfolio. With Squarespace, you can turn any idea into a reality. Great marketing, great copy. Let's see if that's actually true as we scroll down this page. They have award-winning designs. I don't really know what awards they're winning. I would kind of like to know and understand that a little bit better when they're talking about awards, but I'm assuming what they're talking about is the templates that they've created or their own style of what they've created on the website space. And best in class website templates, customized, designed to fit your personal site and professional needs. So they're saying that they're basically creating templates that are going to be best fit. They're going to work well for you and your personal style or your professional needs. So let's just take a look. Let's preview Avenue here. So one of the biggest things I'll say is this is a portfolio style. It's very simple. They have the work here. You can hover over it. Has a little tint over it. If you are a person who is working as an artist or photographer, you're doing something that requires you to show your work as a proof of, let's say, proof of concept in a way, where your work is the most important thing. That should be number one. They don't care about who you are. They don't care about what your prices are. They don't care about anything until they've seen your work. And if they love your work, then they're going to want to know more. They're going to want to know, who is this person that takes such wonderful photographs? What is their pricing? How can I get in touch with them? That is going to be that chain reaction. So in terms of design, if I'm looking at just this pure, just straight from this template here, and you're looking at it, it makes sense, right? If you're scrolling through this website, the first most important thing that you're looking at is the photograph or context or content or whatever you're trying to sell, or your work or previous portfolio. And in here you go, right? You can scroll down, you can have a little bit of understanding behind it. You have some bigger photos, and then it jumps back to work, or you can look at your work already. It makes it very intuitive for a user to look at your work and not get distracted or run into a roadblock as they go through it. I do like that they have a blog, because if they're talking as a photographer, there's probably a story going beyond all of these images, right? So that makes sense. And then into about. If people care enough to go this deep, they're probably going to care about who you are as a person, what you're doing, what is life. So in terms of just this first template, very, very simple. Not much going on here. But from a user experience and from a usability standpoint, I honestly believe that this is a very, very good template to start from, because it checks the boxes of what's needed from a step-by-step plan from how a client or a potential visitor would interact with your website, and to give them the best experience. So as we go through here, and we get into portfolios, you can see the different styles. They have blogging tools, SEO tools. They talk about a little bit analytics, their own analytics. It's okay. There's some apps and integrations with like accounting, Instagram, OpenTable. Those things, not really important from a design perspective, but they do look good. They do fit the style of what your website looks like, or Squarespace. So they are customized to look like Squarespace or in their own style. So from an integration standpoint, design is still going to be somewhat seamless when you're integrating these different platforms that are already pre-approved or pre-integrated with Squarespace, of course. Mobile editing, very important to have a mobile first design, the user experience, the feel, things like that. So it's very, very good from the standpoint of they're looking at it from many different angles. And from a design standpoint, they're really honing in on certain industries, which you can see on the left-hand side here in their categories. And they're creating, in my opinion, very good UX templates that you can build a website off. Are they the most impressive? No. Are they the best templates I've ever seen? Are they highly creative? No. Are they going to look similar to other websites? Yes. But they are very, very, very strong from a structure standpoint, from a business standpoint, to get you started and get in the right direction, and you can take it from there. The one criticism I will have for Squarespace in the design sphere is their menu at the top is not very, in my opinion, great UX. Because if we look at this template here for a local business, Huawei, right? We're looking at it, and the biggest thing I will say is you're pretty limited in what you can do with your menu. And the other piece here is when you're hovering over a menu item, there you can split the menu. It's very clean. In my opinion, the style is always a little bit too small. The menus are a little bit harder to see, as you can see here. And if you have a drop down, and if we go to a Squarespace website where there is a drop down, I don't think there's a lot of things you can do here with a drop down besides just having a very basic drop down, right? It's not that intuitive in my opinion. It's very simple. It's easy to use, intuitive in terms of from a UX standpoint. Could you do something more, right? Could you do something that was better, easier? Do you have to have a drop down? Things like that. So if you're using it from a headline, like just having straight main menu items on a Squarespace menu, it's basic. It's okay. But if you're using drop downs, I think it gets even worse. And then if you're trying to take a look at it from like a mobile perspective, let's go back here to the template viewpoints so that we can hopefully see it from different. Let's take a preview here. So again, there's no drop downs here. This is just headline main one. Let's look at it from a tablet view. So it just gets smaller, and then a mobile view, and you click on it, and the mobile view is actually pretty good. I mean, it's a little hard to distinguish between them. It's kind of like the main menu here where there's no hover. It's a very faint hover interaction. There's no distinguishing. So from a design perspective from mobile, it works. I will say that even in their view of mobile, the text is cut off. I don't, like look at dedicate. I mean, there's a few tweaks here that I definitely would say from a font perspective that needs to happen, that needs to be tweaked, that Squarespace, even in their demos, is not taking care of. So just know that going in, if you're going from a design perspective, the designs are not pixel perfect. Your text, your font, things like that, you can't come out of the box and expect it to look perfect on a mobile. Even though they're saying that it's going to look great, that the designs are perfect, they're probably not going to be, and you need to be aware of that, especially if you're changing the text, which you should be. That longer words, different pieces might not fit the same way on a mobile device as previously advertised. So you need to be very careful on how that goes, and you should always review your work. So the mobile menu, it's good. It's not inspired. There could be a little bit more distinction here, easier to work with from a mobile perspective, but it looks great. The text is good. I have a problem with the headline here, but overall, it's a very solid design in terms of that. But the menu is something that I would pinpoint as a weakness. It's not very complicated. It's pretty straightforward. Again, Squarespace is very simple and minimalist in their style, so there's a reason why they do it. But if I'm going to say that they could improve, that is an area they definitely can improve. Now, if we're going back to our popular designs or categories here, one of the biggest things I will say is you can see that probably a lot of photographers or artists or the people use this because they have a lot of portfolio type websites. But when you get down into it, right, you have a handyman website, you have a local business type website, the Bedford. And the thing about that I really like about the designs is they incorporate call to actions or CTAs, which are basically buttons or links or things like that right in the design for you. So sustainability starts with you, learn more. That allows you to be right from the get-go. You have a great image, you have a great, different, 3-part, the rule 3, you have sustainability starts with you, learn more. It flows. There's a lot of good things happening here. You're not overwhelmed with a ton of things. You don't have a lot of choices. You're pretty much clicking learn more. And then you can jump in and learn more about what they do. And you can look at their projects and you can look at different things. The piece I have a problem here with a little bit of design, and this is more technical than design, is it shouldn't have to reload a new page every single time you click on this. The content should be able to change, or you could have it jump down further on the page so that you don't have so many refreshing and reloading. That's partly on the design side, it's mostly technical, but I do really like this template in the fact that it gets you started with a really great structure that allows you to have and organize how visitors will visit your website and where you want them to go. So you're directing them to the most important content first, so that you're able to have that higher engagement, so that you're able to either convert them on sales or even donations, or even get them to sign up or care about your company or your blog or your brand in a very different way than if they just came to your website and there was nothing for them to direct them, right? You might have a higher bounce rate. You might have things where people are get frustrated because they're like, what is the point of this website? Right here, it's very simple to understand and get to know more right from the get-go. Now, if I miss that and I keep scrolling through, the nice thing about this is I can learn more about it. I can learn more about take action, or I can subscribe, and there's also contact information in the bottom. Now, the footer doesn't go with me, so I have to scroll back up if I wanted to see more there. So there's a little bit of a dead end from a user experience standpoint, but the majority of people they're banking on are going to either click from the top, or they're going to click on one of these options as they go through, or if they're not interested, they're just going to leave the page altogether. Not ideal. I would recommend adding something maybe at the bottom here that's a little bit more of a call to action than just subscribe. In my opinion, you could have a little bit more contact or next pages, or maybe even a blog if you had a blog here, to be more content, more engagement. But from a structure standpoint, this is an excellent start to make sure that you have those call to actions there. Because if you don't have them, then where do people know where to go? How are you directing them through your website? In that case, you're just expecting them to know how to navigate your website themselves, which is something you should never do for a user. You should always guide them and create a user path. Where do you want them to go first? Where do you want them to go second? Where do you want them to go third? And what is like the final page, or what is the resolution page you want them to be on? How do you build up? How do you get them informed? Those are questions you need to ask yourself when you're building a website, when you're designing a website, because the biggest piece is it's not about trying to sell people right away. It's about informing them. It's about educating them. It's about engaging with them and then converting them and having them naturally work through these different levels so they have a higher understanding. So at the end, when you pitch them, or when you try to sell them, or you try to get them to subscribe or sign up, they are more likely to do it because they care. They care about you. They care about what you're doing. They understand it. They feel involved, or they feel like they understand that they can be a part of this. So that's just one template. I looked at a few. Like I said, one of the biggest things I will note here too, their templates are very simple and they have great UX in many cases, but you also have to remember there's limitations to that. And a lot of what they're doing is relying on images, high quality images. If you look at, this one, like Miller, almost the entire home page, the whole above the fold, is just a singular image with a menu, right? If you don't have a great high quality image, this template's not going to work for you. This design's not going to work for you. Now, it's not a limitation per se, but you have to go in understanding what is your strength and what is not. If you're designing a brand that doesn't have great photography, that doesn't have a great brand, you're going to have to mitigate that. So you're not going to have all the focus on photography. That's not that great. You're going to have to find more white space, minimizing the image size. You're going to have to find and do a little bit different of a UX experience, but still get the job done if you're there. If the client's willing to invest in photography and you have great photography, you have a home free to be able to use it as you wish. And a lot of these templates are going to fit very nicely. So, just doing this quick review, understanding what you can develop and design with Squarespace, I do believe that for these industries that they're focused on, they do a great job. At least one of these templates from a portfolio for a wedding, or let's say we go to musicians and we look at this, right? Honestly, I feel like one of these, of the many different options they have here, is going to work great for a musician, or at least the style or the general layout will work great. And you can take and change it as you wish. So they do live up to the hype of they have beautiful designs, they have good UX, There's not always going to be a perfect design, obviously, but there's a great start. And that is what I think the beauty is, that it's a bit of inspiration. There's a little bit of direction of, hey, you can do a split screen style, you can do a high menu, you can do no menu, you can just focus on, the call to action at the start. There's options here. It gets you started, and they follow best practices. And they do follow some design trends. They do really. Squarespace is very good about following and really kind of setting a tone for web design trends, keeping ahead of things. Now, not all the templates are going to follow suit because that's just unrealistic, but there are going to be options. There's things out there. So, from my perspective, and just kind of taking a quick look at Squarespace and understanding the templates, understanding the promises they're making, you are able to make a beautiful and clean website. There are certain limitations on how to style, like the menu and a few other pieces there, but overall, they do a great job with their templates. I do think that they're very good design from a UX perspective, and you can take that structure and run with it and to make something even better. So Squarespace, great job. I'm very curious to see if you have any comments, any questions related to that. If you a UX designer out there and you disagree with me, I would love to hear what you have to say about Squarespace and their design. And thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing, and looking forward to seeing you next time.